So let's import this project into FELIX. I want to export everything. Okay. And here FELIX asks us to import a file. I say yes. I create a new scene into an existing project. So the existing project will be probably this one. And here we have the file. So let's start the live window immediately. And here we are. So let's create a few views immediately. So plus, and we add a view. F key, zoom slightly out. Let's make this view too. And let's make a third view, which could be something like that. Here I want the camera lower. And I use the vertical shift to center the subject again. And may I zoom in, and I use a slightly wider angle. So here we have the three views. For each view we can change the environment. So if here in this view I want a different environment, I have multiple options. I can choose the sun angle directly from here, orientation. I can vary the environments by clicking here on that options. This offers you a similar environment in the sense that the sun inclination is similar. You see, it varies just slightly, but it changes the the backdrop and consequently the lighting too. And here, let's say I want the light coming from that side. Or even a sunset. So could be this one. Perfect. Even here I lower the camera, go slightly closer, vertical shift. And yes. And here we keep this environment for the moment. Okay, so let's start to add some materials. Materials, let's put the water of the pool. Here I have already the pool water. Let's add some ground material to the surroundings. So let's go here in nature. I put some sand here, whatever, just to have something. Later we put grass and vegetation in that layer. Let's add some stone. some travertine pavement here. Glass to the windows. I think there has not, this glass has already an extrusion, a thickness. So FELIX expects that the glass surfaces have a thickness. If the model is without thickness, FELIX will add it for you. You can change that anytime. Double click, it selects here. For example, I add extrusion, and now it will add a further extrusion, but it doesn't work because they are already extruded. So, okay, let's remove it again, the extrusion of the glass. Here, let's put some material on the walls. So architectural, let's take that plaster. And the same here for the moment. I make a quick setup and then we fine tune it in detail later. That is the pool material. I want the pool in an travertine too. Okay, let's put the same travertine for the moment. If this travertine is too dark, we can brighten it up. Here we have the tail of the texture. So I can increase the brightness here of the texture and it will brighten up, and I can use this one and apply it to the stone of the pool too. So you see now they have the same slightly brighter travertine. All that stuff here is one single layer, which is the furniture layer. So here in design, we want that in wood. And I will choose a dark wood for that, all that stuff. Instead, for the exterior structure here, I use this one. We are at time to change it anytime. So then we have these walls here. You see the camera is not perfectly horizontal. We see it from the pitch. If you press the H key on the keyboard, horizontal, the camera is set horizontally, so vertical lines are perfectly straight. And let's save. So we have something, save it here. It saves all views, all the setup when you say save. So, and now let's go in architecture, walls, stone, and here I want a stone wall in that wall here. So it could be this one. Let's see how it looks. The bump map here is very strong, so we can lower it a little bit, okay? And we can make it even shinier if we like. So, for example, if I increase the glossiness, if I remove the bump, so it's a bit more polished. And here I can change quickly the scale if the scaling is too too big. If I want to go to the previous view, I have to press the Q key on the keyboard and it goes back to that view, which is the last saved one. So if I move the camera and I want to go back, Q key, and it goes back. Instead here for the, let's go here in plastic. For the frames, we take one of these plastics here, and I want them gray. You can, to edit materials, you are not forced to go here in the material list. One way is to double click on the layer and it will select the material on the list, you see. So here that is the plastic which we just assigned it. But you can also do it directly from here with the central mouse button, one click and it. So you can, no need necessary to go to the layer list. Let's make them some dark frames and let's see what happens. Instead, these ones, we make them in another color. I want them in a color similar to this. So here we have a nice trick, which is if you want almost the same color of the wall, of the plaster, there are multiple ways to do it. So one is to go to the layer, click on the color and double click, and it puts you the color in a palette which is stored. And then you can go click again on this one and you take it from here. So now they have the same color. Another way, let's change it quickly, okay, to whatever else. Another way will be to click here and say, use the color picker and click on that. And so it takes the color directly from that layer. In this case, you can use the picker from whatever content on the, even from a real photo, it picks up the color from real photographic references. So it's very easy and very useful to copy color schemes from existing pictures or renderings, because you can retrieve the color directly from the photo. So move in here, let's move in. This is the interior wall. Let's copy the same material on the interior walls and make the interior walls white. Fine. This is the interior floor, so architectural, interior floor, marble, travertine, and here let's use this travertine. I press the Q key and I restore that camera, and let's make some interior cameras too. So I cloned that view and I move here down. So, fine. And that could be another view. Perfect. Let's save. And let's see quickly how to add furniture and objects to the scene. So let's move to furniture. Seat. Here we have it. I can rotate it from here, the object. I can rotate it using these tools. Eventually we have even this gizmo, which helps you to rotate it too. So put it again 90 and let's move it. So if I want to be sure to position the furniture in the right place, I can press F8 and we see the object, the floor, and I can immediately take even that other sofa. And let's roughly align it here. Here we let the passage. Let's move that slightly closer to the wall. Way too much. And let's add 2 armchair chairs here, which could be, I don't know, whatever, just to make a quick example. With F1, you go back to that view. Let's say we want some books here on the library. Books. So they are all rotated in the wrong direction, so we can select them all at once and tell them to rotate 180 degrees. Fine. And now there will be probably some intersections between the furniture and the books, but it's not necessarily a big issue. With the S key, you can scale objects. Here, it tells you even the size of the object. So we can take this once and put another bunch of objects here, 180. Let's make it slightly smaller and move them here. Okay, that is a quick way to do it. Let's put some objects here into the other. It's too big. Let's make it smaller. And here we can have something else. Fine. So with the mouse wheel, you can zoom in and see what is going on even far away. Very good. It's fine for the moment. To have a quick setup is okay. So here, let's go in tables and let's look for one of the small tables. I don't know if they are here. Yes. "90 degrees, F8. Let's put it here in the center. F1. Okay, I want to change the materials of that, most of that furniture. So I will go in materials, design, fabric, cotton, and I want everything in this cotton here. Most of the furniture pieces in that kind of cotton, white cotton. So I can also detach the live window from the camera position. If I click on that icon and I move the camera, this doesn't update anymore. So that is useful because I can move around. And this will be updated with whatever I do. So I take that material and apply it to the... Okay. And the same here. Pillows. And I imagine that is it. Very good. Here we can add some objects too. So let's go in architecture. No, objects, furniture, ornamental. Let's put, I do something very quick, not very well ponderated, but just to show you which is the procedure. We want also a carpet here, so let's go in carpets. I want this one. It's too small. Let's make it bigger and put it below everything. Here I am in the material of the carpet. It is slightly too dark. I remove a little bit of contrast and I make it brighter too. And I reduce slightly the bump. And we have a carpet added. So this is how we deal with objects and things like that. Let's go outside and let's take a quick look to, or we can take a quick look to the lighting. Okay, so let's clone this view here and use a late afternoon environment, something dark like this one. So since we have automatic exposure activated, even if there is very little light outside, it calibrates the picture again to make it bright. But we don't want it so bright. We want to make here a night view. So we have two options: or we lower the exposure compensation. It's a second. Or we put it in manual exposure, and we reduce the exposure time from 1/4 to 1 second, and it gets even darker. Yes, I want something like that. So how to lit up a space? You can use objects from the lighting library, or you can assign to surfaces, which we have many in that file, like this one. No, here somewhere is it? I think it's probably this one. Okay, it's one of them. Or we have that is for the ceiling, and we have in the here behind we have another one. Okay, which is here. You can assign a light emitting material to them. Okay, so they will lit up the space very quickly. Let's look first with lighting fixtures, how it works. Very simple. We go in indoor, floor lamps, and we can use, for example, this very simple lamp here. And let's put it in this corner here. Fine. If we go in material setup, in the bottom here the lamp shows up. May 800 lumen is too much for something like that, so let's reduce the light intensity. And probably we have to reduce the exposure time even more. Here, now it starts to look reasonable. Right mouse button, instance clone. So you clone an object, and I want a clone of that lamp on that side too. We can add even spotlights in the same way. For example, let's take this guy and let's put it on the ceiling. very intense. Double click, it selects it here. Here we have the light. Yes, 1800 lumen is far too much for this situation. Let's put even this one in 400. The lighting fixtures you add to your scene, you can turn them on or off with the bulb here. You see the fixture is still there, but it just turned it off. So I turn them off now quickly, and now let's look for the other way, which is by adding a light emitting material to the surface. So here is one of the surfaces, you see them, materials, emitters. And let's take, we can use this one, okay. Very simple. Again, if we want to lower the intensity, we go here and we reduce it to 1000 lumen, for example. Which is more appropriate, probably. The scale of that texture is too big, so I want it smaller. I want them something like 3 meters. Fine. The camera is not perfectly aligned to the boundaries, so to the frame, so here 91, so I put it in 90 degrees, and now the camera is perpendicular to the it's turned. You don't see it here because this was turned off. Let's turn it on again, and here we have it. Let's turn on. These filters allow you to filter objects very quickly. For example, I want only to see in the list furniture objects. Furniture, it shows you the one which you use it. Okay, so seat. So here we have all the seats. Or lighting. Here we have all lighting fixtures. So that's a very quick filter. Okay, art objects. Okay, and so on, all objects. Or if you click on only, by default it shows you only all light sources. So we have the light emitting surface, and here we have the 2 light emitting objects, which are this one. So I turn them on, at least these guys. Very good. By default, most lighting fixtures have 3000 or 2800 Kelvin degrees, which is the warm, cold attribute of the light. Okay, I suggest you to use, for a bit more modern images, 3600 for as color temperature. So let's put 3600 everywhere. Okay. And let's reduce the exposure time even a bit more, so it gets even slightly darker, the picture for the moment. Okay. And we could add a chandelier here in the middle, indoor. Or no, sorry, downlights. I don't know, pendant. Let's use this guy and put it here on the ceiling. Again, top view, so we can center it easily on the table. Center it on the table. F1, we go back to the view. Which light intensity do we have here? That is reasonable. So now we have, and let's put even in this one, 3600. I recommend to not use a huge variety of light colors in your project. I will stick with one light temperature for most lighting fixtures, because otherwise the image gets a little bit messy. You can play with variations, but they have to be less subtle. Let's say we can decide that all this indirect lighting is much colder. So we go here and we say 5000. So you see, in that way, you create an area, a clear area, where everything around this corner is colder and this corner is more welcoming and warm. No, could be an idea, or at least better is to make stronger light variation instead very subtle ones. Okay, and you can put whatever kind of light you want. No, obviously. Let's go back to the 3600. And let's save. We cloned that view. It was this view. Okay, so that was our previous view, which was the day view. And so this is now the day view together with the artificial light turned on. You can turn off all lights in a specific view by clicking this one. Okay, it just does exactly the same as if you go each one and turn off these bulbs, but this one is view dependent. It just turns off all light sources of a view. You can do even the opposite. You can turn off natural light. This is the natural light, and turn on only artificial light. So we don't have any environment outside now, you see. So this is useful for quick verification and here in that case, for example, in this lamp, we should change the black plastic for a white plastic. Done. So all materials regarding everything are found in this panel. If we want to add a painting on the wall, we go in Art, Paintings, and we take this one and apply it here on the wall. If we want to change some aspects of that wood, for example, we can increase the glossiness. So we make it more reflective. Now you start to see the ceiling reflected here. You can change the wood color. This is not a very good texture, I will say. We can replace it very quickly. So let's go in materials, design, wood. This is probably more appropriate. And again, let's increase the glossiness. This one, reduce slightly the bump, and we get a more polished feeling of that furniture. So I want lights turned completely off. I want to see and feel only the natural light flooding into the space and made from a different angle. Let's see what it offers by rotating the sun. Let's underexposure slightly. It's too bright for an interior of this kind. If the shadows are too sharp, you can reduce the sharpness of the shadows. You click on the environment and you say sun size, and you increase the size of the sun. You can make even the sun colder or warmer. You see the shadow now is much more blurred. And you can even decrease the intensity of the sun if you like. If we lower it completely, you rely on the sun of the HDRI, which not always are very good. Okay. Instead, if you increase it, you overlay to that sun and a stronger intensity sun with even a different coloration, and so you have more control over the final effect. Let's take a quick look to the vegetation topic. Let's go outside. I don't want artificial lighting turned on in the exteriors now for the moment, so I turn it off in all of them. And now let's add some grass, some trees, and paint some vegetation on top of that scene. So let's go in Ikebana, plants, grass, and I take directly this guy and apply it here. So it says building scattering. Okay, so this can take a moment because the surface is not so small, so it has to create several 100,000 of small objects scattered on the full surface. Fine, and we do the same with this. Let's detach here quickly. Here we have even this areas here. Okay, so I put now the same grass even there. Just drag it on top of the surface. So it's making the scattering, it will make the scattering there. And in the meanwhile, we are going to add some trees in the background. So let's go in the object library, plants, trees, tall, and here we have one of them, one big tree. Let's add another one. And of different types, so we have some more variety. As we have here let's move this to the side, even this one, and I use this very big one here for the center. So I scale this one slightly down. I make a copy of this one with Shift. I make a copy. Okay, and I add another tree here closer to the camera. Here we have this wall far away, so to this one we go in architecture, walls, and let's add some bricks on it. Let's paint some other kind of vegetation. So here in Ikebana, bushes. Let's take and look for these guys here. Let's activate the paint tool. And let's take care to turn this off, otherwise it will paint on top of the trees. And here in the modeling software, I prepared this layer, which is just a thin band here. And I will, on this one, show you how to use a different kind of scattering. No, it's very similar to the other one, to be honest. So Ikebana, let's see if it's somewhere here. No, object library, Edge. No, this Eevee. Let's take this and let's look for this object. So if I drag and drop this object here, you see it scatters this object on top of that surface. I add the same ground to that layer too. And here I open the detail, and now I increase strongly the intensity of that. So that makes something like a hedge here. And I change the vertical offset to -0.5, so stick slightly under the ground. Here we should see the bushes we painted before. And then we go again in Ikebana, flowers, and no bushes here where they are. Object library, plants, or flowers. Here, I wanted this ones. It starts to look nice. So paint. You can delete and edit that stuff anytime later. So I do just something very quick to show you how it works. We have to turn off on object. Okay. So here is the painting layer somewhere. Here's the painting layer. So here we can add multiple plants to the same layer. Oh, 1 second. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here they are. And here we will see them, okay? And in the foreground, Ikebana, I will add some of that flowers. So I will again turn off on object, and let's make a 0.6 raft, and let's paint here some of these tiny flowers. Not too many and not too dense, but just to add some life here. And they are probably too big compared to the rest, so we make them smaller. And maybe slightly less dense. And here we should see them immediately now. Oh, I did them too small. So all painting layers are seen here. So I make them bigger again. Sorry. So I zoom in, so we see yes, they are there. Okay. Very good. And let's also show you how to make a night view of a view like this one. Okay, so let's clone that view. We have it here on the bottom. And let's do the same we did before. Let's choose a very dark sky for this one. It could be even this one. This one is nice. Okay. So we have again automatic exposure turned on. Let's put it in manual. This sky is too intense, so we lower it. Okay. Okay, and now we turn the lights on. Let's increase the exposure time and lower the light intensity of the background. So you have to calibrate natural light with daylight. Okay, that is the game here basically. And here could be even more exposed. Let's go 1 second. And this even less intense. And if we want to lit up the space even better, let's put some additional lighting fixtures here and there very quickly. Whatever, I do it just very quickly, okay, to have something to show you. I added a light fixture here in this corner. Here we see it. And we do the same upstairs. So we add some lights here and there again. I can even go to the object library, say objects, lighting, okay, so I have them all here, and I can recycle the same ones. I can take an object from the library and put it directly here, you see? Let's put one here and one here. And let's do the same in that space. And I'm going to lend this one too. You see. And if we want to highlight some architectural elements, let's go in spotlights or even in uplights. No, spotlights. I want to use this one. And let's play with this guy and put one here. And one here. And one here. And then we will add a footer one on that corner. We can add here very quickly a dining table. There are many here on the bottom we have some bigger ones here. Okay, let's put this one here. Let's use the same material we use it in the sofa. Oh, let's turn this one off. Sofa, and I take that guy and put it here on top. You see, it's very easy to take and use materials from one surface and apply them to another. And here outside, we are going to exteriors. For the exteriors, we should have some pool chairs. So maybe here in chaise longue, furniture, seat. Other? No, chaise longue. This guy here. Okay, fine. So here from the view, we can add additional effects. We can increase the bloom effect. We have to. From here we can increase the bloom effect. Which softens the whole picture. You have to calibrate that well. Okay, it can look good or bad depending on the scene. Something important in this wall, we need some light. Okay, so let's go quickly to that wall, and from the lighting indoor wall washer, let's use this element. This one are the 2 meter 40. Okay, here is it. It has probably to be oriented in the opposite side. I know. It's already fine like that. I like it. Eventually we change the light color of this one too to 3000, oops, sorry, 3600, like all other light sources of the scene. And we have an additional effect which we can add, which is the fog. So we say enabled. I will pick up as color the background color. Visibility is very low now, 100 meters. So we probably have to increase it. But you see, it immediately adds some depth to the scene. So the trees more far away are, if we add further trees, for example, if we use the plants, trees, tall, and take, for example, this ones and paint some trees here far away. Here they are on the bottom, you see them. Can make them slightly bigger. More dense. And here you see them with this nice atmospheric effect that they are fading in the bluish color. And we have also here the color boost. Okay, if you want a more punchy feeling of the colors of the image, you can activate the boost option. Let's underexpose it slightly. Okay. It is often nice to have a tree in the foreground making some framing the picture somehow. Okay. So we have here the night view. Again, if you switch now to the original view, which is this one, everything is kept and you have simply the day view as before. Okay. I will say that is it for the moment.